Hello everyone. Today we're talking about international human resources and managing human resources internationally. As is evident, human resources has a different focus when dealing with domestic human resources as opposed to international or global human resources. In other words, as management would manage differently in an international realm, so would HR. And there's several different reasons why. Culture is one, and people in different countries, as we've seen, if you read anything from CNN to Yahoo to the Wall Street Journal, people have different ambitions and perspectives as you travel throughout the globe. That's both exciting but also complex because you have to take that into account, especially when you work in global countries, other countries. But from a human resources perspective, there's really four things that I think a human resources professional should take into account when they start to manage individuals, employees, in an overseas locations. So first and foremost is that they should ensure that the organization assesses and adapts to the culture of the host country. This means that when you go into, just like when you go into somebody else's house and they ask you to remove your shoes, you're adapting to the culture of that house. So from pay to communications, human resources does play a role in ensuring that the policies of this country, the home country, are adapted to the customs or the culture of the host country. If pay is less, that's something you have to adapt to. If pay is more, you have to adapt to. If they pay some individuals differently based on their skills, you have to adapt to that too. The aspect that makes a multinational company so successful is they do adapt. And I've talked a lot about assess and adapt. Two is that hiring, promoting, and managing employees who have different perspectives and ambitions, yet all work towards achieving the organization's common goal. So you hire people who are consistent with what your organization looks for an employee, yet they have these different perspectives, ambitions, and you have to find those people who are going to ensure that they work towards a common goal. It is not easy. For instance, some people believe that, or some peoples in some countries believe you should take naps in the afternoon, that you should work later in the day, start later in the day. All of those aspects, when you hire a person, you have to make sure that you hire a person who's an excellent employee, but also they're going to have these differences that you're going to have to adapt to if you want to hire the best people. We can't assume, and HR can't assume, that you're going to go into a country, you're going to find the exact people that you need, and they're going to be exactly as the home country in terms of their perspective. It's not going to happen. So you're going to have to adapt in that regard. Third is you're probably going to have to create a different corporate structure from supervision to sales practices that's similar to the home country, yet respects and recognizes differences in business and societal practices. So structures are going to be different. Maybe you have less supervision, more supervision. Maybe the supervision has to be somebody from the host country. Otherwise, employees in that country just simply won't work for a person in a different country. And if you want to be successful in that host country, you're going to have to take that into account. So you're going to have a different structure. Maybe their custom is that accounting is always outsourced, or it has to be done by the host country, even though the home country wants to do accounting, as an example. In this country, it's going to have to be done by a citizen within that host country. So you're going to have to create different structures. And lastly, you have to work on, often not a human resources issue, we think, but internationally it is, where you're going to have to create a positive impression of the organization in the host country, which not only attracts the right employees, but promotes the organization as a respectful and an honorable corporate citizen, adding value to the host country. So those are the four things I look for that human resources has to do differently. These are often not things that human resources is seen as their responsibility. But they're going to have to ensure the organization assesses and adapts to the culture of the country. They're going to have to make sure that they hire the best people possible, but also recognize that those people are going to have differences in perspectives and ambitions. And they're going to have to take that into account and still hire the best person. They're going to have to create a different organizational structure, one that is acceptable within the host country, not something that we would do in the home country. And lastly, we're going to have to work on helping the organization create a positive impression. You're not going to get the best employees without it, and you want them to be seen as a respectful, honorable corporate citizen that adds value to the country, because that's going to benefit the organization and the host country as a whole. Hope you enjoy. I always look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the day.